So Tsarista is not the final boss. Hell, she's not even final. She's not even going to be side or secondary boss either. Now, you guys might be wondering that who are we going to face then? Or who will be the final boss in the game? Well, stick till the end of this video to find out who is the final boss. And before starting off this video, I want you guys to like and subscribe this channel if you haven't. And now, let's start. So if you have followed this story, then by now it's pretty accepted that Tsarista is not going to be the final boss. But instead, we will end up facing off against Celestia in some capacity. I'd like to propose, however, that Tsarista won't be a boss at all, at least not in the conventional sense. The reason? Well, I don't think that Tsarista has any power left, or at least not enough for a fight against the Traveler. But the Tsarista is an Archon, so she clearly had lots of power at one point. So where did it all go? Simply, it's all in the Fatui. I think when she created the Fatui, she split her power up amongst the higher ranking members of the Fatui, leaving her with very little power left. Well, firstly, let's look at the idea of Tsarista giving up some of her power. We know that God can imbue objects with their power based on Sal, Chalice and Ruler created by Havia, as seen in Zhongli's story quest. We can also conclude that E likely imbued the Shogun puppet with some of her power, as the two were equally matched in Transient Dreams, the Raiden Shogun's second story quest. Focalor split her divinity entirely from her body when she created Furina, so clearly an Archon's power and divinity are not tied to their bodies. Therefore, it does not seem impossible that the Tsarista could divide her divine powers amongst the Fatui. Well, now you might be wondering, is there any evidence to back this up though? Well, yes, in two ways. Firstly, the Harbingers. The Fatui Harbingers are incredibly powerful people, with the top three being said to have power rivaling that of the gods. They aren't gods though, as seen by Skarmoth's ascent to godhood, at least not in their own right. If the Tsarista did in fact split her powers amongst them, then that would explain why they are capable of rivaling other gods. We also see two instances of Fatui Harbingers doing something that, to my knowledge, we never see anyone else do. Reach into someone's chest without killing them. During La Signora's altercation with Venti, we saw her plunge her hand into his chest, removing the Animonosis. A similar thing happens later in Liyue when Tartaglia attempts to remove the Geonosis from the Juvia, only to discover it is no longer there. Since the Gnosis are directly tied to an Archon's godhood, it stands to reason that only an Archon can remove one from their body or another's body. What else do we see of the Harbingers? Well, Dottore has segmented clones of himself scattered around throughout time, something that Nahida calls an insult to the very concept of life. This does not seem to be something any human could accomplish. Tartaglia also fights the all-devouring Narval for quite some time without defeat, although one could perhaps chalk that up to his Abyss connections. So ultimately, what we have seen of the Harbingers so far shows them to be a people of immense power, clearly far more powerful than the average vision holder, as evidenced by Signora easily defeating Kujusara. Secondly, Mirror Maidens. The Mirror Maidens have two voice lines referring to Tsarista. Her Majesty's power flow through me, and this is Her Majesty's gift. To me, at least, this seems like a pretty certain proof that Tsarista has given up some of her power to make them powerful. The Mirror Maidens also have a very unique power set. Despite technically being Hydro aligned, their powers don't really fit that element. They trap you in a place with spikes that look like cryo and teleport with mirror portals. Perhaps the Tsarista will have similar abilities. So what does this mean for the game? Well, as the title of this video says, I don't think we'll get to fight the Tsarista at all. Despite her being a main antagonist, her power is to divide among the 11 Harbingers and the unknowable amount of Fatui agents. Perhaps her power is also what powers the delusions, although I find that unlikely. Instead, I think we will face off amongst the remaining Harbingers in a kind of gladiatorial style combat one by one, or maybe by the time we reach Snezhnaya, we will already be prepared to join forces with Her Majesty in facing off against Celestia. We'll just have to wait and see. But what do you guys think about this? Do you agree with my opinion and my theory? Do comment down below and also tell me about your theories regarding Fatui Harbinger's powers. And also like this video and subscribe our channel if you like our content, and I will see you in the next one.